how's it going? My name is Ruby Price and welcome to a week ago. Now, I woke up at about 7 and 6 and 5. But at 7 I actually sort of stayed awake for a bit, but then I fell back asleep. And now it's nearly the afternoon, so I should probably get on with the day. Hey, aren't you that person that does a week ago? No. So first things first, I'm not the realist. But secondly, the new episode of a week ago has gone live already. If you haven't watched it, please go watch it. I really think it's really good. Beth took over for me whilst I was doing my dissertation. Because I needed to focus on work, so being of a vlogging mind was not the right focus for me last week. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, please go watch it. Leave a comment, all that stuff, make it algorithmically boosted and all that jazz. And third of all, I look like this because, well, last week I went from a 7 to a 1 across the week. I want to look pretty. As much as this week is going to be based around relaxing and not really like engaging brain, I'm going to try and keep it interesting for you. I'll try. It won't just all be shots of me playing Fallout. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Nice. It's officially the weather is getting cold enough for blankets. Not for the sake of just, you know, being comforted whilst you're doing your dissertation. Yeah, chilly. It's actually chilly. In the north, we're starting to put our big coats on. In the south, they're turning the heating up to, you know, the levels of the fiery depths of hell reserved only for Tories. Oh man, I just listened to like one of the best podcasts that I've listened to this year. I was listening to certain podcasts, as I do every now and then. Like when it first came out, I listened to it quite a lot, but then, you know, just time got on and, you know, I couldn't commit to just listening to a podcast every week. Yeah, it's happening podcast, and the guest for this week was a music journalist called Simon Young, who's like interviewed so many like, you know, acts in the rock and metal music scene, and that's one, I'm jealous. Two, like, you know, this guy's career is just half of what, you know, as a music journalism graduate I would aspire to be doing. Like, granted, like, my main, you know, ambitions are down the radio route, but still, you know, just hearing what this guy's done and what he's still doing, you know, it's just crazy. So yeah, it's happening podcast, available on like all the podcast listening platforms, and the episode 98 with Simon Young. I've listened to it, it's really good. It's Rube's recommendation. That's a thing, I guess. Well, it's certainly not oversleeping, because I have nothing to get up for. But I did sleep in today. Like, I don't want to be waking up at 11. I'd quite like to be waking up during the, like, you know, the morning to actually make the most of time where I'm not under any pressure to do anything. Because, like, you know, after this weekend, I need to try and get back on the horse in terms of, you know, getting a job, actually getting some money for the ridiculous expenses that I've got that I can't do anything about because, you know, they started when I had money, and there's also the fact of paying rent. This is the week for me to get all my stuff out of the way, like all my relaxation stuff. All the things that I wanted to do last week, but I just couldn't because I was under the pressure to get things finished. So, also the earlier I wake up, the more likely is that I'll have access to the TV when at least 2 people in the house want access to it during the day. And you're one of those 2 people. It's first come, first serve. I'm not sat in the living room, so as you can see, I missed out today. Gigantic TV, and I'm playing with headphones. Because Beth was in a work meeting, but now she's not. So I can probably take the headphones out. But it's just the irony. Makes for a more immersive experience though. I did just finish the first act of Fallout 4 for like the third or fourth time. The entrance by the Brotherhood is absolutely one of the best. Like, you know, if you're gonna make an entrance into a game and you claim to be, you know, the superior faction, you have to make an entrance like that. And boy, do they make an entrance. If you've played this game, you know what I'm on about. Do hablo español? What's up, bitches? So that was a nice little reunion of 2/3 of my midweek drinking club, which we became known as because we always went out on a Tuesday, Wednesday or Thursday. Midweek, basically. You know, you saw a lot of those. If you've watched series 1, you saw a lot of those midweek drinking meetups. But yeah, it was nice. It was fun, social, and just refreshing, really. So last week I said sincerely that I was going to try and wake up at 9 AM, well, get out of bed every day at 9 AM this week. And Ian just laughed. And based on the fact the last 3 days I've woken up at 11 at the earliest, I can see why. Because it's not like I've not been trying. I've got alarm set. I've not been going to sleep late, that's for sure. Today it was about 11:45. So there's a documentary on Netflix called Disclosure that I've had my eye on for a while. I had my eye on it before it, you know, came out, but I've just not got around to watching it. And everyone who's spoken about it since has said, like, it's a must watch. It's about trans representation in the media, and most importantly, it's done by trans people, so it's not just a lot of cis people talking shit. And I've managed to convince the house to watch it tonight, so I shall report back later as to whether all the people who talked about it were, you know, right. So, yeah. Because that's the thing as well, like every now and then like a trans documentary or whatever will come out and everyone will be like, oh, you've got to see this, and I'll watch it and I'll be like, this is shit. But then like a lot of the trans media, like the things that focus on trans issues and culture, they're made for a cis audience, whereas like I'm obviously not part of that audience. So yeah. However, this one I think is possibly made for both. I don't know yet. I'll find out. So we watched Disclosure. Wow. Just wow. That documentary packs punches. Like, from the get-go. We discussed this as a group, but like, it knows it's only got its opportunity to make its point clear. So just every single like talking point is just a point. It's like, this is what's going on. There's no bullshit here. This is what's going on. You're gonna listen, and you're gonna sit there in silence contemplating our every fucking word. Just, oh, wow. Wow. Most of it I knew, but it was still really eye-opening for, like, even someone like me. The cis people in the room were like, fucking hell. Just wow. And that's the thing that I really like about it. It's for both. It's not just for trans people, it's not just for cis people, it's for trans and cis people. And then, you know, obviously there is a distinction of like, you know, are NBs trans people or intersex people trans people? For the sake of this argument, and for the sake of the fact that like trans is an umbrella term, I'm just gonna say yes at this point. Like, obviously, you know, there are distinctions, so, you know, don't just take what this one trans person says about, you know, trans people as gospel. But it's a show that's made for a wider audience than just trans people or cis people. It's for both. One of the talking points that came up was the matter of trans representation in a certain, I can't remember what it was, but it's a certain media, and there's like, it presented with two people, like, you know, like, oh my god, I saw someone like myself in this show, that was amazing, like, I realised I could do it. And then they followed that up with two people talking about the exact same thing, being like, this is scary, like, this is dangerous, I'm so scared of what's going to happen because of this. And it's like, it just goes to show that trans people are different. You know, there's a very common misconception, which I even talked about in my dissertation, cue Vietnam flashbacks, about this like idea of transnormativity, and like the outer communities look at trans people as all having the same opinion. You know, there's lots of trans people that don't think that J.K. Rowling has been transphobic whatsoever, which, you know, they are allowed to think that. They are wrong, because it's been proven that she's been transphobic, but, you know, they're allowed to think that, because that, hey, that's an opinion, apparently. But, you know, it just goes to show that trans people don't think the same. Another talking point in it, Caitlyn Jenner. I didn't watch I Am Kate. It didn't appeal to me whatsoever. It's not. I don't give a shit about the Kardashians. I don't give a shit about the Jenners. Caitlyn Jenner, you know, high-profile trans woman. Don't give a shit. Didn't have a clue that that show featured other trans people. The show isn't just about Caitlyn Jenner. It's about several trans people that are just involved in this. And it's like, I didn't know. And it's like, you know, showing people who are watching these programs that, you know, there are a multitude of trans women who aren't the same, have completely different life experiences, different political affiliations, you know. Caitlyn Jenner is very much a Republican. It's a shame that one of the highest profile trans people in the world is a Republican, but that's just what's going to happen, because people are allowed different political opinions. But yeah, there's one last point I wanted to make about this. I've forgotten what it was because I just got on a tangent, but basically, yeah, I'm just going to say it. Yeah, there was even like cases of, you know, trans people being cast in trans roles. Yay. And then in the post-production phase, them having their voice lowered by 2 octaves so they sound like what a cis audience is expecting them to sound like. And it's like, holy fucking shit. Don't ever try and tell me that trans representation in the media is not important. Don't ever tell me that. Don't ever try and tell me that the current level of trans representation in the media or trans involvement in the media is good, because, you know, whilst there is some, it's definitely not where it should be. And even where it's presented as being a positive thing, it's usually not. But anyway, what do I know? I'm just a trans woman who is yet to find out if they know anything about participatory cultures and social media. But until then, she's just an unemployed trans woman. Yay, statistics. Proving that one right, aren't I? But yeah, Disclosure, it's on Netflix. It's about an hour and 40 minutes, I think it was. Really, absolutely, 100% watch it. Watch it. It will change your fucking life. Whether you're trans, cis, and anywhere in between / outside of those 2 brackets, if you want to nitpick. But now, I need to sleep. I got beaten to the PS4 in the living room today, so that means that I am an F1 driver for the day. Yeah, it's basically the same career that I've had on F1 2018 since the start of lockdown, where I deliberately started with Williams on a really hard difficulty, like to see where I could be by the end of the season, you know. Won a couple of races, I think it was. It's been a while since I checked. And, you know, moved to Racing Point Force India. I believe there's still Force India in F1 2018. If you'd like to support me on Patreon, I might one day be able to afford the new F1 game. Please don't support me for that reason. But, you know, feel free to support me on Patreon if you want. Anyway, I've got a race to win. So I'm sure some of you will have noticed that my fringe has been getting quite long. So I've, you know, just been having it up to the side or like parted it across the middle. But I watched a couple of tutorials because I was getting sick of it, and my hairdresser's is a very long distance away. And I also don't have the money for that. So maybe I could retrain as a hairdresser. You know, that won't happen. But apparently, you know, people in the creative industries are looking to retrain. And I don't think I've done a bad job here. Like, you know, it's still pretty long, but I didn't want to take off too much in case things went wrong. But yeah, my bangs are sorted. So in the need to save money, I swear I muted you. So in an effort to save money, as of today, I have deactivated my Netflix, my Amazon Prime, and what was the other one? My Spotify. Because all three of them I've pretty much barely used at all since moving in. And, you know, money. But Spotify is the main one that, like, I'm probably gonna miss the most, because music, and new music, and music that's not even new, but like I just haven't heard before, that's a biggie for me. And that also is going to affect Songs for a Ruby Tuesday, so this month's Songs for a Ruby Tuesday will be the last until, like, I'm in a position to be using Spotify again without worry. So yeah, or I might do a different one this time, of it being like my favourites from the Songs for a Ruby Tuesday playlist, because I've, you know, still got a record of everything that's been in there. Yeah, and yeah, Netflix I don't think I've used since moving in. Amazon Prime I used a couple of times to watch, you know, 1 or 2 episodes of Supernatural when we'd gone to bed. So yeah, I'm not really going to miss those, other than like the integrated Twitch subscription that I've been using to subscribe to Nerdcubed for 2 years, I think. Yeah, it's been a long time, but no more of that anymore, which is a shame, but hey ho. Really, the only money that should be coming out my account at this point on a regular basis is my phone bill, because I can't do anything about that, and it's expensive enough as it is. And yeah, my phone bill. That should be it, basically, because I can't justify anything else coming out, as annoying as that is. In some lighter news though, I'm planning to do a live stream on YouTube this week. And if I'm not going to do a live stream, I'll do a Q&A video. I'm yet to decide what day, if I'm going to do a live stream or not. So if I don't do the live stream, I'm doing a Q&A. So if you'd like to leave any questions for me to, you know, answer in the Q&A, leave them in the description below. Leave them in the comments below, and I shall answer them. And if I do a Q&A, and if I do a live stream, it'll be an AMA anyway, so, like, you know, AMA, ask me anything, Q&A, whatever bollocks you wanna, you know, use to describe it. But yeah, I was thinking if I do film a Q&A, it'll be like a good way of getting back into the swing of video creating with a very low pressure and easy format to do. It's up to you. It's up to you. Leave me questions anyway, and I'll answer them in either the Q&A or the AMA live stream. Well, last night I was watching the Black Parade is Dead concert in full, because it's on the My Chemical Romance YouTube channel. It's been on my Watch Later playlist since it was uploaded to the YouTube channel, but I just haven't got around to watching it because it was a 2.25 hour video. But yeah, now it's just made me really angry at 2020, because I should have seen My Chemical Romance in my life by now, but I just haven't. Yay. So I submitted my dissertation, as you know, on Friday. That's just a week ago now. And I've been told that apparently my results are gonna be coming in on Wednesday next week. That's sooner than I was expecting. Because normally there's like a 3-week waiting period between, you know, like handing something in and getting the results of that back. But now apparently I'm getting the results of my entire MA back on Wednesday, so unusual. But at least I won't have to wait around to find out what's going on, I guess. It's only to find out about what's going on with graduation though. I'd quite like a graduation ceremony. So I've had a craving. Well, I don't know why a craving, but I've had an impulse to play Minecraft for the first time in months. and the game loaded in with all of the iron golems just like individually loading in. It probably was like, hang on, people are using this server? I need to get on with building my ship again. My gigantic pirate ship, which is totally not a rip-off. So today is Charmander Community Day on Pokemon Go, and since we're not in a tier 3 lockdown situation, and because, well, I want to maximise my chances of catching a shiny Charmander, and Niantic have changed the, you know, game rules that they put in to make it, like, you know, good for COVID. Like, you know, Pokemon didn't, you didn't need to go outside for some of the key features to work, but now they've taken most of those away because apparently it's fine. So to maximise our chances of catching a shiny Charmander, me and Beth are going for a walk into town where there's more Pokestops and hopefully more Pokemon and hopefully more shiny Pokemon. More shiny Pokemon. Give me that shiny Charmander, boy! This is literally the first Charmander I clicked on, and it's shiny. It's been an hour and I'm on 7 shiny Charmanders, one of which is a 3-star. Also came for a coffee break. And as I catch my 13th shiny Charmander, I'd say today's been a good day. How many have you got, Beth?
5, I think.
You definitely started to get a lot more after we left Cafe Nero.
Yeah, it really didn't want me to get any to start with.
Yeah, whilst I was getting them all.
You got like 3 in a row.
I got like 3 shiny Charmanders before we left the house. I've got another one. Whilst I'm having this conversation, I've just found another one. That's 14. But yeah, everything I saw today shows why we're still having a pandemic problem. Like, there's a complete disregard for social distancing. Where
inside.
Yeah, even inside. Where shops have got one-way systems, people are just ignoring it.
But also, sometimes the one-way systems are like set out obvious enough, so like,
yeah.
I'll start going the wrong way and then have to go back because it's not like that clear, even though you're looking for it.
Yeah, which just, you know, isn't helpful with a one-way system.
No.
And like,
you've got to understand it to be able to follow it.
yeah, and then there was the case in like Card Factory where, like, because of the size of the shop, they have a one-way system, but the one-way system is just a loop. There is that. So we just played Sentinels. It's basically like a superhero card game. We played it against basically one of the hardest bosses that we currently have, and it looked pretty tense at some points, but we managed to pull it back and win in the end, which is good, particularly when for a couple of turns your opponent is invincible. Yeah, it's a balancing act, but yeah, we won. It's tense, but we won. Well, it's a Sunday and there's a Formula 1 race next weekend, which means this weekend and today I'm doing the Grid Talk podcast, previewing the Portuguese Grand Prix. And I don't know, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there has been a Portuguese Grand Prix for Formula 1 in my lifetime. So that's going to be interesting. The show prep stuff is done. Just waiting now because it's about an hour until the show starts. Yeah, I am excited for this one. Turns out there has been a Portuguese Grand Prix in my lifetime because the last one was in 1996. And obviously I'm 1995 baby, so yeah. Researched some news to see what's been happening this week. Like, obviously I've been aware of all the stuff because, like, all the stuff that I've been thinking about was the stuff that came up on, like, my news apps and stuff for Formula 1. So yeah, now I'm just waiting. So after podcast is done, I'm gonna edit this. I'm gonna have a shower because that'll make me feel better. Anyway, time to wait for a podcast, I guess. Well, the show's over. I forgot to start recording the show at the start of the podcast, which was annoying. But fortunately there should be a way around that for the, official release. It should be out by now, because they usually come out on a Monday. But other than that, yep, I'm gonna get on with editing this. I'm gonna have a shower, and I'm gonna probably play Minecraft, because that ship that I've been building looks a lot more like a ship now. It actually looks really cool. And so on that note, I'm going to call that a week. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, do all that generic YouTube stuff, like, share, comment, subscribe, etc, etc. I have planned a live stream for tonight, the night that this goes out. So, well, the day that this goes out. So, you should have already seen it on my YouTube channel, that there's a little live stream preview program, whatever you want to call it. So please come along to that if you're watching this beforehand. If you're watching this afterwards, I really hope you came along. Mostly, I just don't want to be sat there talking to myself. I think that's the worst thing that can happen in a live stream. Not currently planning on putting them anywhere after they've happened. So, come along. If you don't want to miss out, please come along. We can have a little get together in the comments and speak and chat and stuff. Yeah. As always, I've been Ruby Price, and I shall see you a week ago. Adios. Bye.